Good afternoon, children. This is my fourth video on the chapter Human Reproduction. In the previous video, I started the topic gametogenesis and I explained you how it is of two types, that is spermatogenesis and the oogenesis. I discussed the complete topic under spermatogenesis and discussed it into many terms. For example, what is spermiogenesis, spermiation, etc. Right? Then there were three phases I discussed: multiplication phase, growth phase, maturation phase, and spermiogenesis, the transformation from the radially symmetrical spermatid into the polarized or the spermatozoa with polarity, and finally the release of sperms to the epididymis called spermiation. Today's topic, yes, one more thing I did last time was the hormonal control of spermatogenesis. Today's topic to begin is gametogenesis in females, what we call as oogenesis. Right? Before we start with the topic, it is important to understand where does oogenesis occur. Oogenesis means formation of mature female gamete called ovum. Right? That means if spermatogenesis was the formation of sperms in seminiferous tubule, then oogenesis is the formation of ovum in the ovary. So what part of the ovary? This is the diagram which I discussed in the female reproductive system in previous video. So here the lining of the ovary, the outermost lining, this is called as germinal epithelium, right? Then it is further continued layer below that is the tunica albuginea, and then comes the stroma, which is made up of outer ovarian cortex and inner ovarian medulla. So out of the three layers, which part is going to form the ovum? This is the outermost layer. I repeat, you are seeing this diagram. There are various ova into various stages of development, right? Here you can see an ovum being released also. But who is forming this ovum? This layer, which is called as the outermost or the ovarian or germinal epithelium, this is responsible to form these ovum. Let us see how. All right. So we are starting with the process of oogenesis. In your textbooks, this is given at page number 112. So let us see how this begins. In the same structure, right? First, let us tell you oogenesis, just like spermatogenesis, is in three phases. In the previous part, you saw spermatogenesis forming under multiplication, growth, and maturation phases. This took place. Same way here, oogenesis also occurs in three phases, like multiplication, growth, and maturation. In multiplication phase, the first thing to happen is few cells of the same germinal epithelium that is lining the ovary, right? And this happens during the fetal development. That is, this oogenesis begins in the developing female fetus at around 25 weeks of formation, which means this is much before the girl child is born. Right? In a gestation period of around 9 months, this formation of the egg begins in the child's body, that is a girl's body, around 25 weeks. All right? How it happens? A few cells of the germinal epithelium, right? These enlarge, all right? And here they undergo repeated mitosis and form a number of germ cells called oogonia, or the egg mother cells. There are around 2 million oogonia in each ovary, all right? And no more oogonia are formed or added in the ovary after birth. So this, in the initial part only, children, we can see one difference. When this is taking place in a female's body at 25 weeks of development, when the child is still in the mother's womb, right? In contrast, the spermatogenesis, it starts in a male's body at puberty. That means around 13 to 14 years. So this is the first difference to compare, right? So let us see what happens further. After the enlarged cells underwent the repeated mitosis and they formed oogonia or the egg mother cells, right? Each oogonium, it divides. There are around 2 million. I am talking about one oogonium. Each oogonium, it divides once again by the repeated mitosis, and it forms a structure called egg tube of Flugger. P is silent, so we call it as egg tube of Flugger. And this projects into the stroma in the form of a cord. Stroma means in the center here, it projects like a cord or some rod-like structure. We call it egg tube of Flugger. Now, this egg tube of Flugger, like a rod-shaped structure, now becomes rounded and we call it as egg nest. Alright, so this is the change that is happening. A rod-shaped structure, the egg tube of Flugger, becomes round nest-like structure or egg nest. Now in this, which is like a group of some many cells, one of the cell of the egg nest enlarges. The red one you can see, this is the enlarged cell. Alright, and this forms the primary oocyte. This forms the enlarged single cell, forms the primary oocyte, while the other cells there, they will form a layer of follicular epithelium around the primary oocyte. So follicular cells, they are the cells in blue color which are surrounding the red colored primary oocyte. To understand, I have differentiated by different colors. Alright, so we started the journey from here, from the germinal layer, and we formed three terms till now: oogonia or egg mother cells, then egg tube of Flugger, egg nest. One of the cells became enlarged to form the primary or the first form oocyte, surrounded by the other cells which formed as the follicular cells. Now, this entire assembly, that means the assembly or the structure of primary oocyte along with the follicular cells, is called primary follicle. Alright, so the primary follicle is this entire thing, egg surrounded by the follicular epithelium. Now, what happens is that this primary follicle, it undergoes meiosis, right? And the nucleus enters meiosis but remains in the diplotin stage of meiosis 1. Alright, so the second change here would be after primary follicle, you can see the nucleus undergoes meiosis and it enters in the diplotin stage, right, of the prophase, and it remains there till the puberty. Alright, and now it forms with two extra layers. That means till this red and blue color we had already here. But what is going to form is this green colored structure or layers of granulosa and a final layer around called theca. So when these two layers are added upon the primary follicle, we now call this as the secondary follicle. Once again, primary follicle, how did it become into secondary? First thing I told you that here the nucleus which had undergone meiosis, it remained in the diplotin stage and got surrounded by layers of granulosa and theca. And certainly it entered the stage what we call as the secondary follicle. Now what happens? The secondary follicle, look at this structure and this structure. What difference? The difference is development of a fluid-filled cavity called antrum. And this cavity contains a fluid called as, here it's written, liquor folliculi. So when the fluid develops in the cavity or the antrum, the secondary structure follicle now becomes tertiary follicle. Once again children, primary follicle was only the nucleus and follicular cells. When primary follicle got two extra layers, many layers of granulosa and theca, it became secondary. And secondary, now when it develops a cavity or antrum which is filled with a fluid called liquor folliculi, we call it as the tertiary follicle. Alright, so the primary follicle, here we can say the primary oocyte, this egg, inside the tertiary follicle, now it grows in size and the nucleus completes the meiotic division. The nucleus had already started the meiotic division here, but it was incomplete. So now this oocyte, which is the primary oocyte, will now start its nuclear division once again and complete it while it is inside the tertiary stage of follicle. Alright, and doing this, as a result, there is a tiny body given out. This tiny body in blue color is given out. We call this as the tiny polar body or first polar body or polocyte. This has no function. Alright, and it also gives the large secondary oocyte which is haploid. So once again children, when the meiotic division is completed here by the tertiary follicle, it gives out a tiny polar body or the polocyte and also forms the large secondary oocyte which is haploid with 22 plus X chromosomes. Alright, now the secondary oocyte is haploid. It retains most of the nutrient-rich cytoplasm of the primary oocyte. And now the final development will be into a Graafian or a mature follicle. What is a Graafian follicle? When the mammalian follicle is now mature or ready to release the ovum, it is called as the Graafian follicle. The size is around 2.5 centimeters. Its walls are made up of several layers. You can see in the diagram here in your textbook, page 113, this is the mature follicle. So its walls are made up of several layers, you can see, of granular cells. See here, the outermost is theca externa, then comes the theca interna, then comes the basement membrane, then various granular cells and the cavity here which is fluid filled, and this is the secondary oocyte that is there. Then the oocyte here is attached to the granular cells by a structure called cumulus oophorus, right? This is the cumulus oophorus and this is how the oocyte is attached to the wall here, right? So ultimately children, the Graafian follicle is formed. So before I move further, I'll quickly explain this once again. I started with oogenesis. The development started with a few cells of germinal epithelium which enlarged, went repeated mitosis, formed a large number of cells called oogonia or the egg mother cells. They were around 2 million, but here we're talking about one. One of them we are talking about, so you can understand there'll be millions undergoing the same process. The cell now, egg mother cell, undergoes repeated mitosis to form a cord-shaped structure which is projected towards the stroma. We call egg tube of Flugger, and from a rod-shaped structure it becomes a rounded structure called egg nest. One of the cell enlarges which forms the primary oocyte, and the others with blue color, they are surrounding it, right? And we call it as the follicular cells or the follicular epithelium. The assembly of this entire structure, the oocyte along with follicular epithelium, is called the primary follicle. The nucleus of primary follicle undergoes meiosis, right, but remains in the diplotein stage. That means it's an incomplete meiosis and it remains here till the child reaches at puberty. See, all this started when the child is in the mother's womb, but the egg remains in this stage till the age of some 11 to 12 years at puberty. Now what will happen is that the primary follicle becomes secondary follicle. How? By the addition of layers of granulosa with the green color and theca. And now it changes into the tertiary follicle. What is the difference? There's a cavity developed called antrum which is filled with a fluid called liquor folliculi, right? Then here, now the nucleus completes the first meiotic division and the result is a polar body which is very tiny and functionless. We call it polocyte, or the first polar body is released. And what else is released is a large secondary oocyte, right, which is haploid. So this secondary oocyte will now mature into the follicle or the Graafian follicle. It will grow in size to form a mature Graafian follicle which is 2.5 centimeters in size, right? So maturation of ovarian follicle is under the effect of a hormone. We call this as FSH or follicle stimulating hormone, and this is released by the anterior pituitary. All right. Also children, these follicular cells, they release a hormone. These follicular cells later, they release a hormone called as estrogen. So I have written here two very important hormone. We are talking the effect of maturation of ovarian follicle. It is by the FSH of anterior pituitary, and the follicular cells of ovarian follicle, they secrete estrogen. Egg in the Graafian follicle is in primary oocyte stage, but at the time of ovulation, egg enters the secondary oocyte stage. What I mean to say here, that egg in the oocyte is in the primary oocyte stage, but at the time of release, here it will develop into secondary oocyte, right? Then the release of egg, we know this is called as the ovulation. All right. Now the ruptured Graafian follicle, once the egg is released, the ruptured Graafian follicle is left, right? It forms the yellow mass called corpus luteum. All that I have not written, but we can understand through this diagram that the yellow mass that is left is in this diagram here. You can see the egg being released and the corpus luteum as a yellow mass that is formed. This corpus luteum is not useless. It will be releasing two hormones. Number one, progesterone, which is the pregnancy hormone, or it maintains the pregnancy, and the other is relaxin, which will be effective towards the end of pregnancy, that will help to relax the uterus muscles to release the baby. All right. So this is all about the portion just now. Now we enter the growth phase. The first phase is over. All this you studied under multiplication phase, children. So this is all over. Entering the growth phase. This is very long and elaborate, but in short we can say that first thing to happen is manifold increase in oocyte due to accumulation of food reserves that are there. Second, mitochondria number and the activity of endoplasmic reticulum and Golgi complex, it increases. Remember children, mitochondria, they provide the energy, endoplasmic reticulum and Golgi, they will increase in their activity. Then vitelline membrane forms around oocyte. What is vitelline membrane, children? While discussing the egg, I had explained you that the cell membrane is also called as the vitelline membrane. So this forms around the oocyte. Then there is increase in the nuclear size and amplification of ribosomal RNA genes. That is, ribosomal RNA is required for protein synthesis. See, now it requires synthesis of proteins for the growth. You are studying growth phase. And with this, now the structure or the ovum or the secondary oocyte develops or enters the maturation phase, which is the last phase. This begins when the nucleus of primary oocyte, right, enters the first meiotic division in the primary follicle, but the division was arrested here. The first meiotic division had started, but the division was arrested till it completed here, releasing what? A secondary oocyte, a large secondary oocyte, and the tiny polar body. Now we are talking of this nucleus further. We are going to talk about final maturation of this nucleus. So this secondary oocyte, the egg secondary oocyte nucleus enters the second meiotic division. This stops at metaphase 2 until the sperm enters fertilization. So now again it will start the second meiotic division, but it will stop at the metaphase plate structure till the sperm will enter during fertilization. That means the final division will be completed after the nucleus of sperm enters for fertilization. But after the second meiotic division here, the product released is second polar body and an ovum, right? At the same time, this first polar body also undergoes second maturation division, forming two polar bodies. So once again children, I explained the secondary oocyte enters second meiotic division, which stops at the metaphase 2, and this is completed till the sperm enters. Now after second meiotic division, the net production would be second polar body and an ovum. At the same time, this first polar body also undergoes a second maturation division. So what is the end result now? Ultimately, as we are going to end up the oogenesis, what are we left in hand? We now only have an ovum and three polar bodies. How come three? This is number 1, the second polar body, and these are the final polar bodies, which are 2 in number. So total 1, 2 and 3. Alright. So this I have already told that polar bodies, these have no function. But if you're asked at the end that what is the net production that is obtained, the end products are one large ovum here and three polar bodies, they have no function. Alright. Then the ovum is released in the secondary oocyte stage. This is very important children. In one word answers, tick mark questions, this is always asked. That ovum is released in the secondary oocyte stage. The nucleus of ovum at this time is what? Is at metaphase stage. I told you it is held up. Which stage it is held up? At metaphase. And this will be completed only after the entry of the sperm. Alright, so this is all about the oogenesis. Please read the textbook pages number 113, 14 and 115 up till here. Structure of ovum I have already discussed in the previous video. So children, these 2 pages you should be able to read at least twice and thrice for a better explanation and study it like 3 headings: maturation phase, then comes the growth phase, and the first was multiplication, the growth and the maturation phase. So this is all for the oogenesis, right? Next video I'll be talking about the menstrual cycle. So kindly write down, these are only 2 pages I am going to send children, page number 1 and page number 2. You can write down in your notes and complete them till date. Thank you.